What's up, everyone? This is yours truly, Mr. Steven, aka The Legend, and you already know my pronouns, so I'm not gonna say it. And welcome to the Steven Factors Love on the Spectrums, Bigger and Weirder. We are still continuing the series. We're in the middle of the halfway through until it's over, so bear with me. Now, folks, I am ready for a controversial topic, and that controversial topic that I like to call is parents on the spotlight. That's right, folks. It's always focusing on the parents to teach these young autism adults learn about dating, relationships, outgoing, and overprotected. Shit. Where have they been? 30 to 20 years ago? That was way too soon. But I really don't know I had to say this, but I definitely had to say this in my own point of view and my own perspective. But I think this show that parents need support to their children who has autism. And also some parents definitely become as public advocates as well too. And I truly respect that. And my grandmother was an advocate, and she is a person who steps up to believe in, to know my condition, and she knew that I become as a grown adult. However, I'm still living in this house for all my life, and I'm not reaching out of the woods as yet. I was isolated and antisocial a long time ago. I don't have any friends. I do have friends during the inclusion program, but we didn't even socialize. This is how life really works. Now, this show is actually based on me, with people, both millennials and Gen Zs, are being isolated, and parents trying to teach children about dating so freaking late. And they didn't even talking about birds and the bees, for crying out loud. And let me tell you something. I want to explain what the birds and the bees, okay? You see, mom and dad love them very much. And all of a sudden, they completely make out and start having. And that's where the babies come from. So, and as you may know, when the baby came out of the mother's womb, their son's completely wrong. That your son or daughter had been diagnosed with autism. And like I said, autism came from genetics over 100 years ago. However, things are not going as too far during the nowadays. There's so many controversies and conspiracy theories about vaccines and even Tylenol and all about this political issues. But we definitely get back to that. But let's focusing about the parents of Love on the Spectrum. Now, I found some information of Reddit, and I think the Reddit has become one of the most accurate website that people want to go through. If people want to register it and sign up to it, they will let the comments and see how they definitely need to respond. So bear with me here, if you will, please. The focus on the parents in the shows like Love on the Spectrum reflects a deliberate editorial choice to provide context, explain the subject's support needs, and showcase the deeply involved family dynamics required in many neurodiverse households. The choice to center the parents alongside young adults has sparked varied opinions from both neurotypical and autistic viewers. Transition and context producers often rely on parents to interpret the cast members' feeling special interests or social boundaries, especially when nonverbal cues or literal communication styles might be misunderstood by the general audience. Advocacy and protection. Parents act as protectors and facilitators, manage logistic, logistics like date locations, transportations, and emotional decompressions after a social outings. Viewer reliability, the emotional journeys, anxieties, and unconfidential love shown by the parents often resonate strongly with neurotypical viewers and families facing similar caregiving realities. Criticism of the parental focus. While the family dynamics is touchy, too many neurodivergent advocates and online communities point out a few drawbacks. Loss of uh, autonomy. Some viewers argue that featuring parents answering questions on behalf of their adult children or discuss their financial and personal lives in front of them undermines the young adult's independence. Infantilization. Many adults in the autistic community have expressed discomfort with the show being framed through a neurotypical gaze, where grown adults on the spectrum are sometimes spoken out or treated with a tone of a child. Prepotent stigmas. Discussion of the platforms like Reddit highlight the viewer hold mixed opinions of the parental involvement. Some find it intrusive, while others recognize that these individuals require lifelong. Okay, this has become one of my biggest topics that I've been never done this show in 15 years. I really don't know how to say this, but Wes talking about this one, losing in autonomy, okay? And after that, we were talking about advocacy and protection. I very disappointed that this show is really going too far. About these parents treat those young autistic adults as kids. And look at me, I was one of them. And it's very sad to me because I really don't appreciate it, how this show really works. It feels like you're in the middle of the drama. Like, for example, let's talking about Connor and his mother Lise. Now, I already made the episode on the long distance relationships because Lise hooked it up with this person from Nashville, and her name is Kate, who's been diagnosed with autism, and all of a sudden, Connor was very upset, and she is very upset with his mother. They're having a little bit of situation about this. They don't know what is really going on at the moment. So they're having a little bit of my argument issues and talking about finances, talking about the future. And after that, he finally jumped in on the next segment, and he told Kian, the director, that he said his parents decided trying to build a guest house. So he's going to bring his shorty in to do a little jiggy with it. You know what? I remember when I was in a hotel in New Jersey, while I was in my cousin's wedding, I was been there alone by myself watching a fuzzy football games and college football games, watching on YouTube. And my family didn't even show up trying to check on me, say how they doing. But it's up to me. I have to check on them. And when I just came back from New Jersey, my uncle recommended that I had bring Shorty into a hotel room so I get more privacy. Are you kidding me? What kind of advice is that to the autistic person? Some autistic person are not stupid. This is why I had to say this. Number one, there's no way in hell you cannot build a guest house. It's way too much money. And number two, Connor needs to get his own job, a real job. He needs to save his money and find his new apartment somewhere in Atlanta, Georgia. And number three, do you think his parents have lots of money like the Trump family? I don't give a sweet honey iced tea. However, there's so many facts and ideas that he wants to do it. Like I said, Connor wants his own privacy. His goal is he wants to create his own Connor's castle. You know what? Imagine if you're a millennial through the Gen Z years, you're trying to think some college vibes, right? I went to the Ritz 5 years ago, and they always pick up their names. Like when you go into college and you find a dome and you have roommates. Let's go to the Ritz place, do some house parties, all kind of shit. Or create their own name, create their own apartment, like the Legends place. It's all about creativity and using imagination. So Connor, he's only somewhere in the mid-20s, I think, like 27 years old, I think, or 28, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. He wants to create his own castle. So Connor, the fan favorite of Love of the Spectrum, has activity planned to build a private guest house on his family's property. This future, called Connor's Castle, represents a big step towards his goals of independent living. Like I said, get the apartment. Jesus Christ. The guest house project reflects Connor's aspirations for the autonomy that's I've been mentioned. Autonomy. Key goals and concepts for the space including independence. It gives Connor his own dedicated living space while keeping him close to his family. It's really similar. They just built a guest house in Santo Domingo for me after my grandmother passed. And I didn't even visit it yet since 2020. And I don't know when I come to visit. Did you know it's actually based on me, right? It's really actually based on me. And this show really changes my life. Just like that. Seriously? Close to his family? And how he's gonna do that? He's gonna pay his own rent, for crying out loud. Give me a break. What if he turns 30? What if he needs to get married and go somewhere else? Oy, oy, oy. No way, man. There is no way whatsoever that should be my life right there. I'm 37 now, and I know my life is like, it was hell. But I'm not talking about that. Custom layouts. The design features an open concept kitchen, a dining and living room alongside a private bedroom, and plumbing. He and his family have planned for 2 full bathrooms, including an in sweet specialty, specifically for him, depending on expected tank feasibility. Seriously? Seriously? Seriously. Connor's parents decide trying to build a guest house for this 27-year-old grown man to have his own space of his own. That's very overprotectiveness, to be honest with you. And even Georgie, Connor's ex-girlfriend, decided to show him around during the rainy days and see what his house really looked like. Make a Connor's castle, etc., etc. This is his fantasy, okay? He loves swords. He loves collecting swords. He wants his own his childhood thing. He wants to create his own fantasy so he could invite anybody else. Oh yeah, I forgot. Did I ever mention that he doesn't have friends whatsoever? That is sad for me. That is really sad. I feel sorry for this guy. I don't have any friends during the past, but I do have friends now. Lots and lots of friends. Both good times and bad. However, we need to look out each other to make bonding who your best friend really is. It could be your parent or it could be your best friends, no matter what. But seriously, building a guest house, it's going to take years. And I don't know when Connor's going to survive that. I feel so sorry for him. And I feel so sorry for his parents whatsoever. But let's fast forward into James. Now, James, on the other hand, he looks like Napoleon Dynamite. And he's very nervous, or should I say worrywart, like Telly Monster from Sesame Street. He's still turning 37, turning to 38 years old. And he's still living in his parents' house, for God's sake. Even his voice so very nervous and talking fast, like I was saying, like maybe we should probably go sometime, and I think I really like do martial arts and something like that. I remember during the episode when I watched, it was on a speed dating event, and this is his first time doing a speed dating event, and the truth is, it didn't go well. So he just left, very depressed. Maybe he could watch the movie. But Jesus, he needs to get his own apartment. Where does he work? And Keegan shooting tenors. James' mom, and she started to cry. And let me tell you something, they're getting old. They look like grandparents, to be honest. And Lawrence, on the other hand, he looked like Al Bundy, for God's sake. Lawrence is like, he is the next grandpa of Al Bundy. He really doesn't care, okay? When I saw the episode when James is ready for his 37th birthday with his celebration, he's doing a little bit of campfire revival, okay? And all of a sudden, it didn't went pretty well, alright? His friends showed up, get them, enjoy their yard, feels like you're in a 4th of July barbecue, and bro, seriously? Do it at the bars and shit. Make a birthday party at the bar or something. Make it more vibrant. Make it more atmosphere. I mean, seriously, most autistic people need to go out more often. Jesus. I mean, very crazy. Very, very crazy. And there's so many controversies that I really want to share with you about these parents as well. But when we go back, let's go. But let's go back to we will talk about it later just a bit. But let's go to last but not least, advocacy and protection. Now you saw so many episodes. All the parents decide trying to take them out if the autistic adults are very independent, searching for love and to meet new people. But some of them are very independent, like James and Madison and some other that. But Connor, on the other hand, he's still hanging out with his mother. By the way, um, yeah, it happens to everybody. But however, if you have a parent with the producer, they always looking for the adult supervision. So that's what I've been doing for the behind the scenes. Now let's go for the parents. By the way, now, ugh, wow, I've been talking so much. This show is actually based on me, for God's sake. And they've always been focusing on the parents instead of young autistic adults. All right? Now, now, Lise and Nikki, two mothers, gave birth to Connor and Tanner. Um, Decided trying to create their own podcast show called Talk to Me Sis. And yes, it's like a spilling a tea podcast talking about the show's future, this and that. And even they claim that the Alt Love in the Spectrum is an unscripted show. It's a reality documentary, but I'm telling you, it's still a reality show. But also, they've been joining Chrissy Romano, Abby's mother, talking about conspiracy theories about autism. Yeah, there's so many mixed reactions about this, and everything's been going too far. However, I encourage you to go on YouTube and put Talk to Me Sis and see what I'm talking about. But also, I created a playlist called The Controversial Show of Love of the Spectrum. So, yeah, it's all there. You could check it out and see what you think on the comments. I really love your feedback. But listen, I want to give a warm warning. And it's about all these young autistic adults. Let me tell you something. If you've been watching this, I know y'all been going through. And I know y'all been going through a lot. However, you're not babysitting. You're not babies anymore. Y'all grown autistic adults. Period. And let me tell you something right now. If your grandparents or your parents are getting older and passed away, God forbid, y'all live on your own. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I very worry about them. A lot. I've been worried about them. I mean, like, wow. What this world got into anyway? We'll see what happens in the future. That's the bottom line. Okay, you learn more about this channel, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell to see my latest videos, and also like button as well. This is your stream, Mr. Steven saying todo para la familia, and thank you for watching the Steven Factor. Love on the spectrums, bigger and weirder. One love.